Let's see. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Hello. This is Taylor Thompson, and we're coming to you. Actually, I'm live on like several of my platforms here because I have an incredibly special guest, and I normally don't go live here on these platforms on Thursday, but we're just going to call this Tea with Taylor Thursday. How about that?
I like it.
So as you guys, as you're coming on, let me know you're here. Drop a line, just say, hey. We're on StreamYard, so you kind of have to give me permission to let me know that you're here and where you're coming in from. Let us know if this is a replay for you. I have a really incredible special guest with a lot of information that you're going to want to know, that you're going to get incredible value with, not only personally, but for you and your business, you, your mindset, you, your health. And so we're going to talk about this today. So hey, I see some people coming on. Give me some, hey, where are you coming in from? Like, I want to know who we're talking to today. That would be great. Angela, oh, I miss you so much. Happy anniversary. You and Dale are so cute together. Thank you for sharing your photos. Angela is one of our Founding Circle members. Glad to have you here. So we're going to be talking today to my beautiful friend, Miss Robin Braun. Now, so can you say hi, Robin?
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here with this fabulous person that I love dearly.
Well, thank you. So we go way back, and so for those of you who are involved in the She Network, where we share her excellence network, if you're new to the platform or you don't know about the platform, you can go check it out at myshenetwork.com. This is a membership platform, but this, where we do live interviews, we share her excellence, we share stories. Robin was one. We did her story, an incredible story that she shares. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that, but an incredible journey, incredible background. But how I met Robin, and I want you to, this goes to, because a lot of you, I mean, most of you know that I'm a believer in the Word of God, and how we connected was quite interesting. I definitely think it was totally divine without question. And, it goes back to, I've always kind of wrestled with this deal about quantum physics and the law of attraction. And like going, okay, so how does that resonate? How does that actually go together? And I always kind of questioned that. And so one of my friends she said, you have to get this book. And I'm like, okay, what? And she said, it's called The Believer's Guide to the Law of Attraction. So it was total answered prayer for me. And come to find out, Robin lived in the same city, in the same area that we did. I bought the book. I read the book. I went through it like voraciously. And it's definitely one of those books that has become a resource from many perspectives. And now we're here today to talk about her second book, which ties right into that. So, Robin, I just said a mouthful here. So how are you today?
I'm good. I actually just came back from Dallas yesterday. I moved to Round Rock, which is near Austin, and I travel now about once a month to see clients, and I have a Bible study in Plano. I do once a month, and just see friends. I still have a lot of good relationships there that I like to see. So.
Well, and so Robin, so not only does she write books, but she does counseling, and it's all about, really about your mindset, how you think, the things that affect your mindset, and how that affects not only your mindset, but also your physical health and your physical well-being. And so we're going to talk about that, and we're going to dive into that today. And so we're going to be talking about how to get her book, how to get it on Kindle for 99 cents. And also, if this is something that you're interested in, she's actually teaching. She has a course to teach you how to do it, even what she does personally, or to even make a practice out of it where you could build your own business doing what she's doing. So Robin, what made you decide to do the second book, and tell us more about it and what we're going to get from reading it?
Sure.
The first book or the second book collectively?
Sure. So about a little over a year ago, I became friends with a publisher, and she did my training, and she said, I would love for you to rewrite your book and add more content, but also share your clients' stories, you know, we don't use any names, but client stories about how these principles change their life. She says, I feel like these principles are life changing. And I really didn't write the first book to be about me. I really just wanted to educate the people. And, you know, I was just starting out my private practice at the time. And so the second book is more about, hey, look, I've been doing this for 7 years now. I've applied it to my own life. I've had massive shifts in my own life using these principles. And I've now got about 50% more content of even more I've learned. I actually, oh, by the way, I didn't tell you this prior to the show. I am officially a doctor. I am a doctor of integrative medicine.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. So I finished my doctorate. And so, you know, I've just learned so much in the past 7 years because, you know, if I have a client who has an issue and I, you know, I'm always researching more and researching more. I was getting my doctorate the past 3.5 years. And so I just had more to offer. I felt like I had more. And when I wrote the first book, I really felt like God said, I want you to educate people on this idea of raising their vibration to live at a higher vibration, because there's going to come a time where it really matters. And in 2013, I was like, well, it matters, but it doesn't matter a lot, you know. And now I'm going, and then about, as I said, 1.5 years ago, I began to do the rewrite, and I finished it towards the end of the fall. And it takes, you know, 6-8 months to get published and edited and all that kind of stuff when a publisher does it. And I went, oh, okay, for such a time as this is really a time that people are just surviving. They're struggling with fear. They're terrified about their health because we suddenly realized doctors can't just fix us. Yeah. And so, you know, which I'm excited about, people taking personal responsibility, because it's true. I mean, there's principles about staying well, staying healthy, staying emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically healthy. And most people just don't take the time to learn those. And it's a bunch of little steps. It's not, I got to make a resolution tomorrow to never eat sugar again. Yes, sugar's bad for you. Yes, you shouldn't eat sugar. But you can make little baby steps to gradually raise your vibration and live a whole different life. And so I talk about that in the book.
Well, and I want to dive into this just a little bit here too, because this goes back to, you know, whenever we first connected, and going back to my own issue, you know, my own thinking, because, you know, I've always been, you know, being an entrepreneur, being, you know, in network marketing, in the network marketing space, you know, they always talk about personal growth, personal development. You know, we talk about, you know, mindset, you know, and it's one of those things I always say, well, you know, network marketing is just a, you know, a personal development program with a compensation plan attached. You know, we use that, and I think it's true to some degree, but really this really helps you have a true understanding and basis foundationally as to how it works, where you're actually thinking about what you're thinking about. Because whenever I read your book, you know, The Believer's Guide to the Law of Attraction, for me, it was very eye-opening, because first of all, you back it up with the scripture and with the word of God, which is great, because it's science based with God, you know, which resonated much with me, because it wasn't.
God made science. He made it, so it should align with scripture because he created it. So.
Right. So it wasn't woo woo or weird in any way. So that meant a lot to me. But I remember, like, inside your book, and I remember, you know, whenever you had they show pictures of the water, right? And like, you know, whenever the vibration, and that was the first time that it was a visual, because I'm a visual learner, where you get a visual effect of frequency, of what frequency truly is. And so, and for those of you watching, I'll give a little explanation as to what this was. Is basically, whenever you were speaking to in the water where it was energy and love, and you were speaking like kind words, and then they froze that water, what the crystals looked like, versus in contrast to having negative energy, negative words, all in that water, in that frequency, and they froze that. And you could visually see the difference in the frequency of the water, right? The frozen suspension. It was crazy.
And I actually, if you go to my YouTube channel, which is Robin Perry Braun, and subscribe, there's a video on there recently where I talk about that. But what I love is there's a second image I have, and my friend actually did this experiment. So this, I saw this with my eyes. This isn't something that somebody else did 1,000 miles away. This was in front of me, right? And so it's called the rice experiment. And she took two peanut butter jars, empty. She put white rice in both, and she put love and beauty on one and hate and ugly on the other. And she put them in different parts of the house. And just once a day, she would go and she would look at love and beauty and kind of feel love and beauty. And the other one, she would go over and she would look at hate and ugly, and she would feel, just by reading the words, how those made her feel. And then she took pictures of the jars 3 weeks later, and the love and beauty jar was still white. And the hate and the ugly jar had turned brown. And even on the back side of the image, you can see a little bit where it's black and it's, moldy or, rotten. Yeah. And so this was like, I physically saw these jars. I, took the picture, and I thought, how exciting. Like, this is a recreatable thing. This isn't something that you can debunk, because tons and tons and tons of people have done this and proven that it works. So it's true. It's fascinating.
Well, and I would say probably, definitely, going back into my journey, we'd always everybody would talk about, you got to be thankful, you got to be grateful, what are you grateful for? What are you thankful for? And so until I read your book, that never really totally connected with me, and that gratitude. So whenever, and it's more and more and more pronounced, you hear more and more about it. You have to be grateful. You have to have gratitude, because that is the highest frequency that you can raise your own body's level whenever you write your gratitude statements, and whenever you pray, or whenever you're praying or thinking about meditating on things that you're grateful and thankful for. You are, by that mindset, creating this environment of this, what you just described, the love, the beauty,
Yes.
right? And what you're actually doing inside your own body. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. And, one of the reasons I wrote the book and how the principles changed my life, I've been a Christian a really long time, but there's all these scriptures that people read and go, that's nice, but they don't understand the why of why they need to apply them. They don't understand the impact of thinking positive thoughts or shifting to gratitude. And so when you can back that with science and you go, oh, I can see a measurable, tangible difference. And it's not just a spiritual principle. It's a quantum physics principle. It applies to everybody the same.
Yes.
And so it really made these, I thought, oh, Jesus was a quantum physics teacher. Paul was a quantum physics teacher. We just didn't get it. We didn't get why you're supposed to go to your brother when you're offended. What is that doing in the energy realm, in the spiritual realm, when I have aught against my brother and we're disconnected and I'm holding bitterness? So, we kind of maybe grasp some about bitterness and forgiveness. But when you understand energetically the toxic effects in my body from bitterness, and science can validate that, you go, oh, maybe I should be a little more mindful about releasing forgiveness and bitterness, because I don't want to get a disease.
Yes.
So when you make those connections, it's really designed to help people live more intentionally. One of the things I want to say about what you're saying earlier in the business realm is that one of the things I love to do, and I have not branded myself as a weight loss expert or a business expert, I just see whoever kind of comes, but everything that blocks us from success is usually a subconscious belief. Okay. Mm-hmm. So let me give you an example. I had a woman who'd been wealthy several times in her life and was coming to see me. She was trying to become wealthy again. And so as we work through, the way I find things in the subconscious, we're all like icebergs. So all this stuff is buried. I would find that what we discovered was every time she had had wealth, she'd either been betrayed, something had come up as she had investors and people had lost a lot of money. So she felt guilty. She felt regret. She felt betrayal. She felt rejection, abandonment, all around wealth. So the truth was she did not really want to be wealthy, because her subconscious attached all of this trauma to wealth. And so she was literally blocking, from receiving that. So when we understand that we really create our own reality energetically, we attract what we believe, but because most of those beliefs are in our subconscious, we don't even necessarily know we have them. And our subconscious is more powerful than our conscious mind.
Well, and this ties. I appreciate you bringing this up, because there's so many times like people, which I'm all for, about, vision boards and writing things down. I believe that is all biblical and creating a vision. But I think you're adding another element to it that hasn't been accounted for, meaning that you can write these things down, you can put the vision in front of you, but if you are not aware, if you're not aware of some sort of belief that you've attached to unconsciously, right? That's blocking the blessing, so to speak, because of a lie that you've bought into, right? That you're energetically blocking, self-sabotaging, whatever you want to call it.
Absolutely.
That what you do and what your specialty is, it allows for your body to release that and let it go, because you don't even you're not even consciously aware that you're hanging on to it, or you have buried that emotion somewhere.
Correct. And so the belief is the key, but the emotion is like the glue that makes that belief feel very true.
Mm-hmm.
So, we talk about affirmations and statements, but if I have a belief glued in there with rejection, betrayal, abandonment, it's very strong. It's an emotion is so from a quantum standpoint, the emotion is magnetic. The thought is electrical. When you put them together, you create a magnet. And until I can detach them by helping energetically release that emotion, I can't just reprogram the belief without detaching. And that's where some of the motivational speaking type of stuff, and even a lot of the law of attraction teaching, misses that point. And so they don't have the level of success because they don't address the emotion. They try to address the belief without detaching the trauma or the emotional energy from it. And so that's where we see that the bigger fruit comes when we can really release. If I've had a lot of rejection in my life, I'm in a belief people don't like me. And what I'm literally sending out is a message going, don't like me, don't like me. So I'm going to continue to attract more rejection. If I can release some of those emotions of rejection, then it's much easier to change the belief and begin to attract feeling light.
Yeah.
And most of us have something similar to that, at least in some circle. Right.
Well, yeah. And I mean, speaking to the viewers here, I mean, that we've done, like you've worked with my family, with my kids, with me, doing, this kind of work. And I love it because it's different than any kind of counseling, that you think consciously, this is what I want to talk about. Right. The way that this works is actually your body is through muscle testing. You can tell like where this emotion's coming from, and not to dive too deep into this, but it's so fascinating how your body is in tune with what needs to take place and that you're not even really aware of. And I don't want to get too woo-woo out there. I'm just telling you that whenever you understand these principles, what Robin's talking about, how you can take not only the mindset shifts, your health. And I want to talk about that a lot right now because we're in a time, and going back to the first of the conversation, whenever you feel like God was saying you need to educate the people on how this really works, right? 2013, we weren't having these kind of conversations. Right. But I think for such a time as this, whenever we're now in 2020, nobody was prepared mentally, emotionally, really what's happened to our world over the last few months. People's fears, people, how have you seen that affecting people and their health in the last few months?
Okay, and that's a really good question. I'll say even recently, I call it the COVID accumulation. Is that recently what I'm seeing is a lot more people like who seem to be doing fine, and they're all of a sudden having anxiety. They're all of a sudden having uh, like loneliness. And so even just from a heart standpoint, we're energetic beings and our heart gives off a lot of energy and we don't realize it, but when we're with people who are not toxic, right? When we're with people, we get all of these needs met energetically, right? Even just having coffee with somebody and being in the presence. And so all of this social distancing and disconnect and not, has kind of had this gradual accumulation effect where I kind of see people struggling with the same thing of feeling disconnected, feeling isolated, lonely, anxious. And there's, other reasons too, but I think just the two factors of not being as connected in the world. And some of those connections weren't great, quite frankly, but just the average person who, didn't see their friends as much, didn't go out as much, didn't go connect with other human beings at the same level because we just all got to be 6 feet apart unless we're with people we trust. And so I think that's one of the factors I've seen. I will not make an anti or pro mask statement as a holistic health practitioner. I don't agree with masks. But part of why I don't agree with it is that we are breathing back in our own toxins, and our exhale is a very key part of how we get rid of toxins in our body every day. And so if you have to wear a mask for any period of time, you're not getting enough oxygen. You're breathing back in your own toxins. And there are now more people in the hospital from lung-related issues, from breathing in their own exhale, than there are from COVID lung issues. Wow. And I can't tell you where I read that statistic, but that's what I've heard. And so that's a concern. And then I think, the best way to understand fear is this. Here's a great analogy. I didn't make this up. This is from Bruce Lipton. And he's great to listen to understand biology and energy. He explains energy medicine from a biological standpoint and ties them together beautifully. Anyway, so he said this. He said, if you're sick in bed, the reason you have no energy, the reason you're like sleeping is because your body is taking all of your available energy and it's rushing it all to your immune system to fight the bacteria, virus. It's why we're not hungry when we have a virus, because our body doesn't want to use energy digesting. Okay. So we're in bed. We've got this sickness, all of our energy is fighting, and a tiger walks in the room. Well, more than likely, we're suddenly going to have a burst of energy and we're going to hop up and try to run in the closet and lock the door, or run out of the room and lock the tiger in our room, right? And so what happens is that when fear hits us, our fight or flight mechanism, which is called our polyvagal system, turns on, and all of that energy that was just spent building our immune system and fighting off something has now been diverted to a survival mechanism. And so what COVID has done for a lot of people is, the news is confusing. One day they say this, one day that, one day they say do this, that. And there's been a ton of fear mongering. No matter what side you're on, you have to acknowledge that. And let me just say one thing about quantum. There's a principle called the law of expansion. And it says whatever we put energy to gets bigger. So nobody focused on SARS. Nobody focuses on the flu, even though way more people died of that. But we've put all this focus on COVID. And so the energy about it has gotten big. And so this fear that people just live in this constant state of fear for something that statistically has a 0.003% fatality rate. And that fear is compromising your immune system. It's compromising your health. It's lowering your vibration. So you attract more negative things in your life across the board. And that's kind of what I talk about in my book. Let me just hold this up real quick too. This is the title of the new book. And you'll have a link in your Facebook thing, but somebody had posted a link to my old book. This is the new book. This is the one that's on sale. It's on my author page of if you Google Robin Perry Braun, you'll see all my books. I actually have 4 books. And so that's the title of it. It's called Thrive. And that's the one that's on sale this week only, September 21st to the 27th for 99 cents. And you can buy multiple copies and give them away. So it's a great time if you want to gift this book, because it's normally $18 in paperback and I think 10 or 11 in Kindle. So if you think you want to give it away to somebody, you can buy multiple copies as gifts. Okay. So anyway, so that's why, like right now, and now we're coming back into flu season, and people have, one of the things I do see, sorry to be all over the place, is that a lot of people are just kind of over it, and they're kind of tired of being afraid, and they're just kind of done with being afraid, because you just can't stay in fear that long.
Yeah.
And then other people have PTSD because they've just been afraid.
Yeah.
For a long time. And it's just not good for your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health.
This is such a good conversation from the perspective of, like, because we can't control all the outward things going on, right? That we can't control the news. We can't control social media. We can't control what other people are saying. However, we can control our thoughts, because, the scripture says to take every thought captive, right? And I've always taught, my kids, God good, devil bad, like whatever. I mean, you can decide, is this good? Is this bad? I mean, no matter what your spiritual belief is, and meditate on those things. Like, this is the thing that each and every one of us can truly guard our heart, guard our mind, guard our thoughts. What are we letting in? What are we letting to take root in? And so, because we do have a responsibility to ourselves and it's something that we can absolutely have impact on, right? And not just succumb.
Right.
Just by what we're allowing inside of our mind and what we allow ourselves to think about. And so this is such a great conversation, and such a timely conversation from so many different perspectives. And I love the title of your book, Thrive. I mean, now more than ever, people need to look to thrive. I mean, and this is a conversation that I've been wanting to have for such a long time, Robin, when I'm kind of tie it right in, meaning that so many people are allowing other people to control their thoughts by what they say and what they do. And this is not the time to do that, right? This is the time to really put love in action. And I always, I think about this as, the difference between the phrase love is versus love does.
Right.
And love does this, exactly what we're talking about, right? Is putting yourself in the mindset of, what can I do today to keep my mindset in a place to where I thrive mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, because if I'm doing these things, now I can give these things.
Yes, absolutely. And that mindfulness is about staying at a high vibration, pivoting from fear to gratitude. Huge shift in your vibration when you do that. Huge shift in where you put your energy. And cumulatively, absolutely a root cause of depression and anxiety and all these other things. And it's those 60,000 thoughts a day that we think. Most are subconscious, but it's this accumulation. So every thought does matter, because it accumulates. If I look in the mirror every day and all I focus on is what I don't like about myself, I'm damaging myself. If I look in the mirror and I focus on the things that I like, I'm building myself up. I'm raising my vibration. Our body vibrates between 62 and 78 hertz, and negative things bring us lower than that. And that's where disease and sickness and depression, anxiety are. And when we move our frequency up, we stay in that joyful state. We can, even in the midst of fear. And yes, turn off the news. There's so much political, there's so much confusion. And then also, one of the things, now I'm a natural doctor. I've been doing this for almost 30 years. Your immune system was designed to fight anything if you will take care of it. And that's the bigger thing. That's why it's for such a time as this. 7 years ago, people weren't thinking about their immune system. Everybody's thinking about their immune system now.
Yeah, and there's so many things like I mean, and let's just talk about some practical ways that things that they can do. Like, I mean, and you can add to this. I mean, these are the things that I try to do in my home to keep my frequency and energy in my home high.
Mhm.
You know, which I put on like in the background, like I put on praise and worship music or
Mhm.
some sort of music, like it, if that's not your thing, even um music that makes your spirit smile, right?
Yes.
Brings joy. Another thing is like essential oils. I know that diffusing essential oils, your smell, because you're impacting that frequent, and you're raising the vibration in the energy in your home and with you. That would be another practical way. And then the other thing is that if you have like any because we sell cell phones and computers and stuff like that. If you have like EMF protections uh,
Mhm.
on your phone, on your cell phone that you can plug in, and all of these are, you can resource so many different ways to protect your home and your environment from electromagnetic frequency that lowers the vibration in your home. So those are three practical things that I do in my. Do you have any other suggestions?
No, well, yes, but let me say about EMFs real quick. I do have some products on my product page that are inexpensive, that are vetted, that work for protecting. I have a newsletter, integratedlifestrategies.com/newsletter, where I have a ton of information on EMFs. It's a very real thing. And then thirdly, I'm actually
Wait,
speaking.
hang on just a second. Angela, if you're still there, can you type into the comments integrative life
Integrated, like
integrated integrated life
strategies.com.
strategies.com.
Yeah.
Integrated life strategies.com. So this is Robin's website. So she does have these resources that I mentioned, that so you guys can go there, go support whatever she's got. It's amazing, I can tell you that.
And they're cost effective. I'm very much about the best thing at the best price and budget. So you can go to Amazon. I know mine are vetted because I use muscle testing with EMFs to make sure these things work. I'm actually speaking at a constitutional summit next weekend on the 3rd, and I'm going to be talking about 5G and EMFs at this summit in Austin. So that's you can go to my Facebook page to look for that information.
So, and you might want to include your Facebook page there.
Okay.
So, and then also, I know that you're actually, this is like your mission. You want to, because you have a certification that you can now, as a doctorate, you can teach and certify others to have this kind of practice. What from a holistic practice kind of perspective. Can you share more about that?
Sure. So, the best thing we can do is reproduce ourselves, right? I mean, I can reach so many people, but if I can train you to reach more people, then we get that out there. So my certified modality is really an accumulation of tens of thousands of dollars of education and lots of life experience. And I have a toolbox that you get. It's a digital toolbox with about 200 cheat sheets. And so I literally can teach you how to do what I do in a 3-day intense workshop. You have to jump through some hoops to get certified, but then you can have a private practice. So that's one for people who might want to be holistic practitioners. But two other people who will take my training would be, one, people who who are my clients and want to be able to work on themselves and have this accelerated. And I have several testimonies of people who did my training, were doing work on themselves every day, releasing lots of trapped emotions every day. And then like and this was my story. I just skyrocketed with shifts in my life like that because I did so much intense concentrated work back to back. So all of a sudden things just started going well for me and working for me and huge. And I'd done 20 or 30 years of inner healing before that. So I really can say doing this concentrated work on yourself is worth the cost of learning how to do it. And then thirdly, working on your friends or family. I have people with several kids and they finally said, hey, it will cost me a whole lot less to learn how to do this and work on my own children like every day, several times a week than to keep paying you to, see my kids every week. And some of them are chronically ill and they needed that. So that would be the third person who would do that. And a lot of them didn't do it to become certified practitioners, but because they did the practicum and they started seeing people's lives change, they're like, I think I'm going to figure out how to at least do this part-time. May not give up my day job, but it's going to be my ministry. So
it's such a powerful tool. And what I've seen, not only personally, what I've seen with my children, the things that have been uprooted and altered, and it's really been quite amazing, to watch the process and to see the growth. And for those of you who are members inside of the She Network, Robin, you get a discount as a member. All you need to get from us or from the She is a code that we'll give to Robin, and you get a 10% discount on that certification. Right. So she's offering that to all the She members. So if that's something, you'll find that on her website, integratedlifestrategies.com. So you can find that certification there. So as we leave today, Robin, what are the practical things you can give them? I mean, we've given them quite a few things, but what would you give them as something to do today to change the direction of, maybe there is a person that's battling fear. Maybe they realize oh my gosh, this is me. Could they reach out to you and connect with you?
Yeah. And I do at least now more than half of my clients by Zoom. So I can use this modality. I have clients all over the world, so you don't have to be live. Absolutely. They can reach out to me. Even just a few nutritional changes in your life, going outside and grounding every day, touching the earth 20 minutes a day, drinking half your body weight in ounces of filtered water every day, starting to give up sodas and other bad food. All of these things make a huge cumulative difference. What you watch on TV, stop watching scary, violent, negative, dark things. Start watching things that make you laugh, things that are joyful, movies that are uplifting. Everything we take in is energy through our eyes, our ears, our heart, our smell, our digestive system. Everything we take in is energy, and it's either going to raise our energy or lower it. Getting some movement or exercise, keeping our lymph system is one of our elimination systems, and we need to have some movement to keep that flowing. It doesn't have a pump like our heart does. And so all of these things are not major things that you're going to fail at. They can just be done little by little. I like to say progress, not perfection. Everything is cumulative. So every shift we make makes an impact on our overall health.
I love that. Progress, not perfection.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great quote. So this has been so valuable. I'm so excited to support you in your book. I'm going to get some books. I'm going to be doing some giveaways for those inside of our group for who invites the most people this week. How about I'm going to give away 3 books
Okay.
for those who makes the most posts inside the groups, who invite the most people, and who shares the best story. That's 3. So those are the 3 categories. So, and I'm also going to be giving away 3 tickets to Rankmakers Live. That's still coming. We are doing I said I was going to do it yesterday, but I'm giving everybody one more day. I'm going to be giving those tickets away tomorrow. So for those of you who are inside the group, we're going to be doing Coffee with Taylor tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Friday morning. We're going to be doing a Zoom live, so it's going to be live and interactive. So I'm super excited about that. Robin, I am so excited for you. This is going to be a book. This is going to touch a lot of people's lives, and I'm super excited to be a part of it.
Thank you. Thank you. And I appreciate you and your family and just love you guys, love the girls. Glad to see them thriving, doing so much better. And I know you've been, if people don't know your story, you've been through so much. You're such an overcomer and just an inspiration at just, you know.
Okay, so don't, because now you're going to make me cry. So don't do that. So thank you so much for you guys being here. Robin, I'm going to say bye to you privately.
Okay.
Robin's got the link there, integrated life strategies. Amazon, we're going to put the link there for Thrive. There's a 99-cent Kindle link here in the feed, so you can go get that as well. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us today. We are so grateful to have you. So that is it for us. Make sure that you post. Remember, I'm going to be giving away 3 books, 3 tickets to Rank Makers Live. So appreciate each and every one of you. You guys have a blessed, amazing Thursday. Mwah.